This is the Rebel Call channel. Welcome to today's show. I want to keep everybody updated on this Neuralink story. Again, if you don't know, the first trial for the Neuralink has been underway now. Anybody out there with common sense knows this is just the first public trial. They actually just did an experiment with nanotechnology on millions and millions of people. Some say billions, but we have to watch this story because this is how they're going to market the Neuralink to sell to civilians, to put this type of technology inside of their body. And like I had mentioned previously, years ago, the first way to do this, the first way that makes the most sense psychologically, is to play on people's heartstrings and come out and talk about people who are disabled, people who have Parkinson's, people who can't walk, who have gone through tragic accidents, to have this type of technology save their life. And then eventually they will start marketing this as you becoming a better human being, you becoming a smarter, more intelligent human being, that you could be the best you by having this technology inside of you. But it starts here. This is the phase of desensitizing people to the technology and getting them open to accepting it. Then they start twisting the marketing as to, or telling people how it can benefit them, how it's not just for people who are disabled, how this could be for everyday use. So before I show you this video clip, and it's frightening, and it's clearly a staged story. The guy is staged. I'll get into that in a moment. I have another channel called Wake Up Call Channel. I tried to upload a video here yesterday in regards to Cannibal Chrome. That's the title of the video. And a standing ovation at the Cannes Film Festival about a movie where people are eating each other, you know? And it gets a 5-minute standing ovation. I wasn't able to get it up on this channel for some reason because the audio was flickering out on this channel. I have no idea why I uploaded it on my other channel. It worked perfectly fine. So that tells me that this channel is probably going to get nuked sometime in the future if they're messing around with it like that. That channel is linked below. It's called the Wake Up Call channel. That video specifically is over there, available for you to view now, which was intended to go up on this channel. So definitely sub below. It's in the comment section and the description box. Take a minute now to pause the video and do that. Make sure you don't forget. So I'm going to play for you this clip, okay? And you have to keep some things in mind when you watch this clip, because remember, the news is to condition us. It is not to inform us. And you could see the little psychological things that they do in these clips. They want you to feel emotionally tied to this guy who had no reason to live anymore. And thankfully, thanks to this tech, he does. Keep in mind as well how they start talking about how other people have this technology because they know that they've taken Elon Musk and they played him into the conservative audience. So liberals are supposed to hate him. So they don't want to buy his device because they don't like him, but they want to let you know that there's other people out there like Jeff Bezos and Bill Gates, who the Democrats do trust, who have the same technology. Because again, at the end of the day, there's a few of these things that have to be accepted on both the right and the left, and they're going to use people to market it to them through the illusion of freedom, as if, well, you don't have to get Elon Musk's because he's a conservative, you can get the Democrat version of it. And this is one of them, getting this technology under your skin. And again, they talk about a brain chip, but they don't need to use a chip. I've covered this before. Elon Musk has openly talked about an injectable, think about it, an injectable way to get this inside of you. And of course, the story itself, none of these stories play off of my heartstrings because I don't believe it for 1 second. I don't believe any of these stories. I don't believe any of these victims in the stories. And people out there go, that's ridiculous to think. Is it? Tell me how this guy woke up. His backstory, which he gives you in this clip, is his friend told him about the Neuralink and how they were undergoing trials. And so he signed up. And he's the only person supposedly out there with the Neuralink, right? He's the only one out there, supposedly. Of course, we know that that's not true. But just how he signed up for it. Oh, his friend told him about Neuralink. So what did he do? Place a phone call and get on, and get Elon Musk on the phone. And he said, I'd like to sign up. And they said, yeah, we're going to choose you. I mean, the stories are so vague, but people believe whatever they hear. They don't think further of backstories and how, of course, they strategically pick these people, place these actors in these spots so that they can manipulate you into accepting this technology. Here is the clip.
In January, Elon Musk announced that for the first time, his company Neuralink implanted a brain chip in a human as part of a preliminary clinical trial.
This is fascinating. Neuralink aims to help people living with debilitating conditions communicate and control external devices with their thoughts. And I will sat down with the patient who received that implant in an exclusive broadcast interview. He is with us now in Atlanta, Georgia. Will, good to see you. And this story here, it's a big one.
It certainly is, DeMarco. It's The future is arriving faster and faster these days, and it was my honor to get to sit with Nolan Arbaugh, who was a fantastic subject, a great guy. He's been through a lot, paralyzed for nearly 8 years now, but he says this Neuralink device has really changed his life.
I didn't have anything to wake up for in the morning, and this has changed that for me.
In a GMA broadcast exclusive, Nolan Arbaugh, the first human implanted with a Neuralink chip in his brain, is telling his story.
I accepted that I was paralyzed and that was my life. I always held out hope that it would all get better.
At 22 years old, Nolan says he dove headfirst in waist-deep water, struck something, and sustained a spinal cord injury. He couldn't move from the shoulders down.
From the time of your injury until earlier this year, what was your daily life like?
I mean, one thing about being paralyzed is that there's a lot of time to sit and think. And so I thought through basically my whole life and realized all the mistakes I'd made and what I could do better.
Then, just last year, Nolan, now 30, receiving a life-changing opportunity.
One day, one of my buddies from college called me up. We talked pretty regularly, and he was like, hey, Neuralink, they opened up the human trials. And I said, what's Neuralink?
Neuralink, co-founded by Elon Musk, is an experimental implantable brain-computer interface, or BCI, a chip surgically implanted by a robot and connected by threads to a patient's brain that allows the patient to control a computer or smartphone with their mind.
This is all from there to there.
Yeah, man.
Wow.
Neuralink is not the only company working on this technology. Several others are also testing their BCIs in paralyzed volunteers. Nolan now joins that small group as Neuralink's first patient.
I was just very happy that I would be a part of something that I believe is so monumental and this next step forward of helping people with paralysis.
What can you do now with the chip implanted that you could not do prior?
I can control a computer just like anyone else can, which is not something I was able to do beforehand.
You just played some music?
Yeah, man.
That's awesome. Do you worry because you are the first patient that something unforeseen could go wrong now that this is inside your head?
I wouldn't say worry. It was something where I knew that if I did this, then it would take a lot of headache and heartache away from the people down the road.
Just last week, news that some of the threads in Nolan's brain had retracted, affecting the performance of the device.
How'd you take the news when they told you that the threads had retracted?
Yeah, it was really hard. It was very, very hard to give up all of the amazing things that I was able to do. I think I had cried basically afterwards.
The problem becoming an opportunity for the makers of Neuralink to explore solutions.
The reason we do clinical trial and early feasibility trial is to uncover these sort of issues as early as possible before they get marketed. And we rolled up our sleeves and found various different ways to for Nolan be able to recover his performance, which we have successfully been able to do.
As for Nolan, the future of the technology only looks bright.
It's going to be amazing when someone can have a spinal cord injury, go into a hospital, get surgery, and walk out a couple days later. I think it's going to happen. I don't think it's as far away as people might think.
Incredible story. And Will, you mentioned that this isn't the first of this kind of technology. Why do you think we're hearing so much about this particular one?
Well, there is the Elon Musk of it all, Eva, the billionaire founder, of course, draws attention everywhere he goes. Neuralink's main thing is the tiny little threads that are thinner than a human hair that are implanted in a participant or a patient's brain. That is what they're advancing the most in their technology. There are a lot of companies doing it. Elon Musk does help bring the attention.
I can't get enough of this story. So when could this implant be made more widely available?
Well, DeMarco, anything with medical breakthroughs generally, the time horizon is measured in years. But DJ Suh, the co-founder of Neuralink, did tell me that his company is planning to implant participants number 2 and 3 in these trials in just the coming months. So they are looking to ramp up these trials, as are other companies of similar nature.
Some fascinating stuff. Well, you mentioned that there was a problem with the connective threads. So what has Neuralink done to fix that problem for the future?
Well, Dr. Darian, what the problem was those threads retracting, which basically in layman's terms means that the device wasn't working as well. But what Neuralink did was go in, tweak the algorithm, and they claim now his BPS, bits per second, that is the standard measurement for how this stuff works, they've actually improved it, they say, versus when Nolan was initially implanted. So this is all uncharted territory for the most part, so they're figuring it out as they go.
But look how far we've come. Wow. All right, Will, thank you very much. We appreciate it, and good to see you.
So again, right, how this guy gets this type of tech, gets on the waiting list, just makes a phone call and suddenly gets signed up for Neuralink, as if they weren't, didn't have a waiting list already of people with similar ailments. It's make-believe, right? And part of the story, of course, is that he's got to go on Good Morning America and every news station out there to promote how this technology gave him a reason to live, right? Now, if you don't remember, a couple weeks ago, the World Economic Forum held an emergency meeting. They called it Special Meeting 24. And if you don't remember, the topics that were discussed were real important topics while the world is crumbling around us, And of course, by real important topics, I mean topics about how they could ruin us, destroy us, and get this technology in us, because that's what it's all about. And I'll play for you the clip, because what they talked about is the mind and the machine, because this is what's important in 2024, playing on people's heartstrings about how this technology is really just for all these, this small list of people who have disabilities. We need to get it inside their bodies.
It depends on what we're talking about from when we're talking about neurotechnology. And I think a lot of it gets grouped together under a single umbrella. And it's useful to divide the world up between what is implanted neurotechnology for therapeutic purposes, where there are a number of companies that have made extraordinary advances over the past few years in moving through clinical trials to be able to do things like potentially restore movement, or to give people back self-determination who, for example, are quadriplegics or unable to communicate verbally or through eye movements, to get those brain signals out and to be able to communicate with devices more directly. That is a limited subset, but some of them have moved to phase 3 clinical trials, and a lot of them are looking at how do they make these devices less invasive? Are there different mechanisms, miniaturization of the technology, or ways to get it into the brain in ways that are less traumatic from a surgery perspective or otherwise, and is something that could go to scale. There are hundreds of thousands of people who stand to benefit from the therapeutic benefits that offers.
And at the end of the day, this is about getting it in everybody's bodies, right? And I've talked also about over the years, there's the programming that's out there to get you to accept this technology is the superhero programming. You may have heard phrases in your day-to-day life like, what's your superpower? If you could pick a superpower, what'd your superpower be? Every single month, there's one of these dork fest films that comes out that nobody asked for, nobody cares about. That's about superpowers. And they have just indoctrinated the masses with this type of mind control. And again, telepathy, as you saw in that clip, is a form of witchcraft. Telepathy is what they're normalizing. You saw the guy playing chess on his computer screen, right? So when I show you these clips and you see this woman talking about, hey, we want to get this stuff inside of people's brains to help them out, nobody realizes that this is really what they want to do. This is her a year prior to this, talking about how they want to get inside of people's brains to monitor their thoughts, to be able to read their emotions, just psychopathic stuff that they want all of us to have inside of us.
And then we're going to do a little Q&A, questions from the audience, and that'll be a wrap, and you'll leave enlightened and excited. So first off, a video. It's going to make you see the future and understand a wonderful future where we can use brainwaves to fight crime, be more productive, and find love. Let's roll.
You're in the zone. Even you can't believe how productive you've been. Your memo is finished, your inbox is under control, and you're feeling sharper than you have in a decade. Sensing your joy, your playlist shifts to your favorite song, sending chills up your spine as the music begins to play. You glance at the program running in the background on your computer screen and notice a now familiar sight that appears whenever you're overloaded with pleasure. Your theta brainwave activity decreasing in the temporal regions of your brain. You mentally move the cursor to the left and scroll through your brain data over the past few hours. You can see your stress levels rising as the deadline to finish your memo approached, causing a peak in your beta brainwave activity right before an alert popped up telling you to take a brain break. But what's that unusual change in your brain activity when you're asleep? It started earlier in the month. You send a text message to your doctor with a mental swipe of your cursor. Could you take a quick look at my brain data? Anything to worry about? Your mind starts to wander to the new colleague on your team, whom you know you shouldn't be daydreaming about, given the policy against intra-office romance. But you can't help fantasizing just a little. But then you start to worry that your boss will notice your amorous feelings when she checks your brain activity and shift your attention back to the present. You breathe a sigh of relief when the email she sends you later that day congratulates you on your brain metrics from the past quarter, which have earned you another performance bonus. You head home jamming to the music with your work-issued brain-sensing earbuds still in. When you arrive at work the next day, a somber cloud has fallen over the office. Along with emails, text messages, and GPS location data, the government has subpoenaed employees' brainwave data from the past year. They have compelling evidence that one of your coworkers has committed massive wire fraud. Now, they're looking for his co-conspirators. You discover they are looking for synchronized brain activity between your coworker and the people he has been working with. While you know you're innocent of any crime, you've been secretly working with him on a new startup venture. Shaking, you remove your earbuds.
What do you think? Is it a future you're ready for? You may be surprised to learn that it's a future that has already arrived. Everything in that video that you just saw is based on technology that is already here today. Artificial intelligence has enabled advances in decoding brain activity in ways that we never before thought possible. You've heard a lot about AI over the past few years. Here at Davos, it's been the talk of the hour. But I want to talk about it in a different way, which is the ability to decode brainwave activity. After all, what you think, what you feel, it's all just data. Data that in large patterns can be decoded using artificial intelligence. Consider this, the average person thinks thousands of thoughts each day. As a thought takes form, like a math calculation, you're happy, you're tired, you're hungry, you're elated. Neurons are firing in your brain, emitting tiny electrical discharges. As a particular thought takes form, hundreds of thousands of neurons fire in characteristic patterns that can be decoded with EEG, or electroencephalography, and AI-powered devices. In fact, what you're seeing here is my brain activity while I'm wearing a simple device like the one on the right. We're not talking about implanted devices of the future. I'm talking about wearable devices that are like Fitbits for your brain.
So the other thing to note, other than the fact that this is straight up psychotic, this is like, Dr. Frankenstein stuff that, again, they have to figure out ways psychologically to get you to accept it. So when you hear about people who were wounded in war and combat, when you hear about people who had tragic car accidents, things you could relate to yourself, right? And you look at them and you go, oh man, that's gotta suck. And then they start talking about, well, I didn't want to live anymore. People start going, oh. And then they go, well, maybe this technology's good, right? Then you take it a year from now, after, like you heard in that clip, the next trial's running out in a month or two. 2 people, 3 people, 5 people, 100 people. Once it starts getting more and more normal, you become desensitized to it. And then it goes from, oh yeah, the Neuralink, well, that's for people who are paralyzed or have disabilities, to, hey, now they're seeing benefits. Doctors are seeing benefits of how the Neuralink could help cure diseases inside your body, make you live longer. What? Oh, and then the next story comes out. Well, now they've tried this experiment on somebody and they lived to 110, they lived to 100, they lived longer. And also it helped cure diseases inside their body. And also, did you know that they weren't tired anymore? They weren't depressed anymore? Are you feeling tired and depressed, by the way? Yes, I am. I'm exhausted. Well, this is something that can help. Don't worry about those big towers that are hitting you with radiation. You see, this can help you with all these other problems that you're having. Maybe I will think about it. I've been pretty depressed lately. Right? And then year after year goes by, and they start marketing this differently. It's no longer about Parkinson's. It's no longer about paraplegia. It suddenly becomes about you becoming a better you. You having more energy during the day. You living longer. You thinking clear. You becoming smarter. Thus superpowers. And boom. The next thing you know, Apple's selling one. Microsoft selling one. All these corporations are selling it to you, Amazon included, and you don't have to get it in your brain. That's the part that people just keep missing. It is not necessarily a brain chip where you get your head sawed open and get this put in. They show you that there because that's the beginning phases of it. You know why they're not showing you the real way they do it? Because they don't want you to be suspicious of how they can inject this through an injectable. They're conditioning many people out there into getting their yearly doses of certain things. Well, this is part of that plan. Okay, I have a clip of Elon Musk, which is on the website, where he openly talks about how they can do this via injectable. Now, every time I upload that clip here, it gets a copyright, so I won't put it in the video. But it's more than these hair-like fibers that they're talking about. It's something that can be transmissible through a little needle that you could put in your arm. And that's where we're headed towards. So the longer the stories circulate, the more you hear about the positives, then you start hearing about more and more and more. And that's basic mind control. A year from now, you'll be hearing about not how the first trials were successful, not just the ups and downs. Because again, they talked about, he got all nervous because there could be something wrong or it couldn't be working as thoroughly. That is a strategic thing that they do. The ebbs and flows, the ups and downs. Because if they come out and they go, we tried it on a person, this is the greatest thing ever, people get suspicious. So they want you to think that they're tinkering with this. They're making it better every day. They know that as time goes by and they start putting more stories out about the ebbs and flows, eventually it's just flows. It's positivity. And the human being becomes so desensitized to it, they start just going, okay, well, they got all the kinks out. Now it's safe for me to try. And that's the point. That's why they do ebbs and flows, to make you think that they're working hard to make it better and better for you. And then you feel safe after a year or 2 or 5 years and you say, well, they did the trials on people and they worked and nothing bad happened. And now they've mastered it so much so that you can become the perfect human being. If you only get this inside your body so you could become a hackable animal. So keep your eyes on this story and watch how they manipulate the masses. This is all about marketing. This isn't about news. Again, it's about conditioning. The news isn't there to inform you, it's there to condition you. And this is a form of marketing. You do this psychologically to people. People get invested in it. They're like, this guy's got this wrong. He wanted to kill him. This is great. They go, well, I would never get that for myself. I don't need it. But in 2 years, when you realize that this tech is floating around and you've heard about it already and you're not like in shock about it anymore, then they start going, well, what about you? And they go, what about me? And they go, don't you want to feel better and sleep less and do more in the day? Yeah. Do you want to make more money at your job? Yeah. Well, we've got good news. There's one for you too. And then they go, oh, really? Then they go, those people are crazy conspiracy nuts who are calling this out years in advance, because it's not what they're saying it is. It's to benefit us, right? Don't worry about the fact that at the same time they're rolling it out, they're talking at the World Economic Forum about how one of their main goals is to mix man and machine. Don't worry about the fact that then they show you the horror story that it'll look like when they could literally arrest people for their thoughts. Huh? Yeah. And people go, I don't have to worry about that. That's not me. That's that guy, Rebel Call. Those are the guys that I don't think like they do. Yeah. Right. You have one thought that's anti-government, anti-establishment. You start questioning anything that's going on, the more they start taking from you every day. Yeah. Welcome to the club. They'll come for you too. I thank everybody for being here. Hope you're all doing well. God bless you as always and your families.